Edgar Cayce on Astrology. Written by Kevin Williams. Created and read by John Bott. Reality is multidimensional. We think of the universe in three-dimensional terms of space, time, and motion. We think of space in terms of height, length, and width. We think of time as past, present, and future. We speak of ourselves as having physical, mental, and spiritual life. Our world can be classified as having mineral, plant, and animal life. According to Edgar Cayce, we are multidimensional beings, existing simultaneously in a multidimensional reality. Long ago, the human body evolved from primates. Even longer ago, souls evolved along with the stars. But before the universe was created, spirits have always existed in a higher spirit dimension as part of divinity. Cayce identified each level of human awareness as consciousness, the mind, subconsciousness, the soul, and superconsciousness, the spirit. Each level of our consciousness concurrently inhabits and operates in a separate dimension, which in totality we refer to as Afterlife Realm. We normally don't think of the universe as an afterlife realm, but according to Cayce, the three-dimensional universe is but one afterlife realm, the physical realm, out of many, although the other afterlife realms exist in dimensions that are invisible to the eye. The idea of a universe composed of 10 or 11 dimensions is also the current popular theory of everything in quantum physics according to string theory. Cayce also revealed how, at the physical level, our body is like a fractal of the solar system, a miniature replica of the solar system. Our heart performs the function of the sun, the center of the system. The planets exert subtle astrological vibrations upon other organs of our body, specifically the endocrine glands, which influences our personality and soul pattern. At the subconscious dimension in the soul realm, the solar system is our larger body, as we are connected astrologically to the planets, the stars, and the souls dwelling there. At the superconscious dimension in the spirit realm, we are a spirit existing in at one-ment with all other spirits, the whole, the one spirit of God. This high-level summary of Cayce's astrological and metaphysical cosmology will be explained even further in this video. Chapter 1. The connection between the physical realm and the afterlife realms. Cayce explained human origins as a time in ancient history when a significant number of spirits deciding to leave their state of at-one-ment with God to explore the vast creation of God's multidimensional universe as souls. This event is what the Bible refers to as fall of angels from heaven. Souls descended upon earth and began to possess the bodies of a particular type of ape-man, and the human race was born. Other souls descended upon other solar systems and are undergoing the same physical evolution. God's plan for souls was a cycle experience through reincarnation towards soul growth through the solar system and its planetary afterlife dimensions. Physical life is three-dimensional. Therefore, from the Earth, we view everything in the universe three-dimensionally. But, according to Cayce, the other planets in our solar system can not only be viewed three-dimensionally as planets, each planet can be viewed within other dimensions as a separate soul or spirit afterlife realm. For example, in our three-dimensional reality, we see the sun as a star, but in another dimension, the sun may actually be an angel, a being of light, or Christ. In the same way, on Earth, we could view Venus three-dimensionally as a planet. But according to Cayce, if we could suddenly see four-dimensionally, we would no longer find ourselves in the Earth plane. We would find ourselves in a different dimension, the Venus plane, a dimension of the afterlife realms called by the same name as the three-dimensional planet Venus. All afterlife realms exist as afterlife dimensions inhabiting the same space, just different frequencies or vibrations. The multidimensional hierarchy of afterlife dimensions or realms is easy to understand if you think of each realm represented by a different frequency on a radio, for example. PMH Atwater, and near-death experience expert and near-death experiencer, does just that when describing what it's like to die. At the moment of death, there is an increase in the speed of energy as if you are suddenly vibrating faster than before. Using radio as an analogy, this increase of energy is comparable to having lived all your life at a certain radio frequency when all of a sudden something comes along and flips the dial. That flip shifts you to a different frequency. The original frequency where you once existed is still there. It did not change. Everything is still just the same as it was. Only you changed. Only you speeded up to allow entry into the next radio frequency on the dial. So when you die, you fit your particular spot on the dial by your speed of vibration. You shift frequencies in dying. You switch over to life on another wavelength. You're still a spot on the dial, but you move up or down a notch or two. You don't die when you die. You shift your consciousness and speed of vibration. That's all death is, a shift. PMH Atwater. According to Cayce, once the soul has learned its lessons and meet all its karma on Earth, the soul no longer needs to reincarnate to Earth as a human being and can then inhabit the next higher planetary afterlife soul spirit realm. Between incarnations in Earth lives, we inhabit other planetary afterlife soul spirit realms. The ultimate goal for each soul is to learn all the lessons needed and meet all karma from every planetary afterlife realm and return to God in perfect at-one-ment as it was in the beginning. In this sense, you might think of our solar system as a university for higher spiritual learning. Afterlife realms are dimensions which we can experience not only after death, but when we are not active in the physical body on Earth. These non-active states include deep meditation, REM sleep, or other altered states that free the subconscious from its normal physical constraints. For example, when Cayce referred to Venus in an astrological reading for someone, he was referring to the astrological influence of the planet Venus upon that person. When Cayce referred to someone's sojourn as a soul in the planetary afterlife dimensions of Venus, he does not mean that the soul dwelt three-dimensionally on the surface of the planet Venus. He means the soul inhabited the four-dimensional afterlife realm named Venus, which is associated physically and astrologically with the three-dimensional planet Venus. This four-dimensional realm is invisible to our eyes, but according to Cayce, our past experiences of inhabiting these dimensions as a soul, spirit, still has an astrological influence on our bodies, which is the subject of the next section. Chapter 2. The connection between the physical body and the afterlife realms. Cayce described how we are connected in mind, body, soul, and spirit to various afterlife realms and astrological bodies such as the moon, sun, planets, and stars. The planets exert an astrological influence on us which originate from the afterlife realms our soul, spirit, has inhabited before our current Earth experience and in between Earth lives. The purpose of these astrological influences is to provide certain life lessons we must learn and for which we are tested on Earth. While on Earth, we're influenced in strong ways by desires originating from our bodies. These desires not only affect our bodies, but our soul as well. How we deal with these influences can determine our level of soul and spiritual development. Through meditation and prayer, we can unlock the doors to the many dimensions, the many mansions of God's kingdom. But the door must first be unlocked here on the earth realm. Jesus taught that the kingdom of God is within us. Luke chapter 17, verse 20 and 21. We seek God by looking within ourselves. Our body is a temple for the Spirit of God, both as a place where we may meet divinity and as an instrument of awareness through which we may attune to the divine. As previously mentioned, Cayce identified 7 locations within the body acting as spiritual energy centers, some of which are the major glands of the endocrine system, called chakras in the East. These locations within the body are, number 1, the Pituitary Gland, number 2, the Pineal Gland, number 3, the Thyroid Gland, number 4, the Thymus, a lymphoid organ of the immune system situated in front of the heart, the Adrenal Glands, the mesonephric duct, called the Leyden or Leydig gland by Cayce, and finally, number 7, the sexual glands, testes in men, ovaries in women. These organs are known by science to be the emotional and motivational centers of our body. They act especially in response to the imaginative forces of the mind. It is through these spiritual centers that our soul finds a means of expression. These are the parts within our body that function like a miniature astrological solar system, with our hearts performing the function of the sun, the center of the system. They are the organs of perception through which we may become aware of the spiritual afterlife realms in the same way that our commonly known 5 senses are organs of perception of our physical earth experience. Chapter 3. The connection between the body's spiritual centers and the afterlife realms. As an instrument for attunement, The 7 spiritual centers in our body serve as points of contact between the spirit and the body. They are the transformers of the superconscious spirit into consciousness and manifestation into the physical body. The functioning of these centers is, in turn, dependent primarily upon the quality of motivation or ideal chosen and dwelt upon by the imaginative forces of the mind. An example of how these spiritual centers work can be found when we get emotional. Whenever we experience the emotion of anger, our adrenal glands secrete. Concerning sexual urges, the activity of our sexual glands are directly related to sexual motivation of our minds. Science knows that the Pituitary Gland is the master gland of the body. Secretions have a direct and coordinating effect on all the other glands. Cayce revealed that each spiritual center is affected by a particular afterlife realm through its associated astrological planetary influence. The lowest endocrine gland in our body, the sexual glands, is associated with the lowest afterlife realm in the hierarchy of spirit realms, the invisible afterlife plane of Saturn. The Pituitary Gland is associated with the highest afterlife realm in the hierarchy, the invisible afterlife plane of Jupiter. The afterlife realm we travel to upon death is determined by the highest endocrine gland within our body that we have spiritually activated. Activation of the highest spiritual center, the Pituitary Gland, creates a spiritual awakening and enlightenment that brings an awareness of our oneness with God. This is the spiritual condition that Christians refer to as atonement, or as Cayce would love to say, at-one-ment. We can achieve spiritual enlightenment through meditation and any other experience that unites our awareness with that of God. Such experiences include Kundalini experiences, psychedelic experiences, and the near-death experience, to name a few. Planet Earth is the 3rd planet from the Sun, and the only object in the universe known to harbor life. It is the densest planet in the solar system and the largest of the 4 terrestrial planets. According to Cayce, the physical realm, the 3-dimensional universe, is the realm of testing. In our solar system, the planet associated with the Earth plane is the planet Earth. Cayce affirmed that only on the planet Earth does 3-dimensional physical life exist in our solar system, which is why the planet Earth is represented as the Earth plane afterlife realm in the hierarchy of afterlife dimensions. Cayce revealed that the Earth realm is a sort of laboratory for the other realms of the afterlife associated with our solar system. This is because only in the Earth plane is free will completely dominant. In other afterlife realms, some measures of control is kept over the soul to see that it learns the proper lessons. The control is usually by the soul itself, if it has evolved sufficiently. Each afterlife realm exerts upon the physical body a particular physical astrological influence by its corresponding planet, while we inhabit the physical realm for purposes of attaining soul growth. Cayce stated that the planet Earth is the main cause and effect planet in our solar system. This means that if a soul has a mental ideal and would like to physically manifest this ideal for the purpose of soul growth, the soul can come to the Earth to apply themselves and be tested according to that ideal. By actually going through the experience themselves physically on Earth, the soul can realize if what they believe is true or not true for themselves. Thus, the Earth realm is a good place for overcoming certain weaknesses and applying oneself to see that those weaknesses are truly overcome. Here, we can learn for certain whether we have really changed. It is one thing to have an idea, but it's another thing to make that ideal into a physical reality. Only in the physical realm can obstacles be presented before a person to challenge their free will, thereby forcing them to either submit to or overcome the obstacle. This is one of the main reasons why we come to the planet Earth. Cayce revealed there are other souls undergoing the same process on Earth-like planets in other solar systems throughout the physical Earth plane, the 3-dimensional universe. The following will attempt to outline the relationship between the planets and the glands in the physical body to connecting afterlife realms and their corresponding astrological, spiritual influence. The relationship between the planets and the physical body to connecting afterlife realms and their corresponding astrological spiritual influences. The gonad's spiritual connection to Saturn's planetary and afterlife realms influence. Saturn is the Roman god of seeds, crops, and harvests, agriculture, leader of the Titans, father and founder of civilizations, social order, and conformity. The famous rings of the planet Saturn that enclose and surround it reflect the idea of human limitations. Astrologically speaking, Saturn is associated with focus, precision, nobility, ethics, civility, lofty goals, career, great achievements, dedication, authority figures, ordered hierarchy, stability, virtues, productiveness, valuable hard lessons learned, destiny, traditions, conformity, structures, protective roles, balance, and karma, reaping what you have sowed, or divine cosmic justice, but with limitations, restrictions, boundaries, anxiety, tests, practicality, reality, and time. It concerns a person's sense of duty, discipline, responsibility, including their physical and emotional endurance during hardships. Saturn also represents the part of a person's concern with long-term planning or foresight. The return of Saturn is said to mark significant events in each person's life. According to Cayce, the energy of the sexual glands, used wholly on the sexual level and without control, may bring sexual perversions and unbridled sensuality. This spiritual center is the highest center activated during a person's life. At death, they may dwell in the corresponding afterlife realm associated with the planet Saturn. According to Cayce, this afterlife realm can be referred to as the realm of earthly woes. It is similar to the afterlife realm, which is known by Catholics as purgatory, a place of cleansing, purification, and starting over. Saturn afterlife realm is not a pleasant place according to Cayce. Cayce said, "This is the realm where all inadequate flesh goes to be redone. The soul may banish itself to the Saturn realm to begin anew." This place is also known as the Great Changer, the great force for starting over. Sometimes when Cayce would begin a reading for someone, he would identify what the last afterlife realm that soul experienced before entering the earth realm. He would not limit himself to the person's past lives on earth, but would include their lives in the cosmos as well. During a reading, Cayce told a person he identified as having previously experienced an incarnation in the Saturn realm that God loves those who are willing to start over. According to Cayce, the Leiden or Leydig gland is the starting point of the soul's activity toward higher levels of spiritual consciousness. The Leiden glands, located above the sexual glands. This endocrine gland can act on the body to function as a door through which the soul may go on to higher afterlife realms. If this gland is the highest gland activated during a person's life, at death they would be able to dwell in the corresponding afterlife realm associated with the planet Neptune. According to Cayce, this afterlife realm is referred to as the realm of mysticism, where souls have the ability to have direct experience with the Creator and perceive the Creator. Neptune gives the urges to seek the unusual, the mystical, the unseen forces around us. People who come to Earth from this realm seem peculiar to others and are many times misunderstood. A love of mysteries can indeed be spiritual, but it can also be of the sleuth or detective nature. The adrenal gland's spiritual connection to Mars's planetary and afterlife realms influence. The adrenal glands are located above the kidneys. We are actively aware of this spiritual center in times of stress when it pours adrenaline into the bloodstream to aid us in fighting or fleeing. According to Cayce, the adrenals are also the storehouse of our emotional karma. From these glands come the negative energy of anger and hatred. This gland is the highest gland activated during a person's life. At death, they will be able to dwell in the corresponding afterlife realm associated with the planet Mars. According to Cayce, this afterlife realm is referred to as the realm of anger. Cayce said, this realm was a place to learn how to control the warrior-like power, aggression, and urges that each soul has the ability to project. People who come to Earth from this realm may bring with them anger, impulsiveness, and a temper. Stubbornness needs to be handled with patience and self-control. Such people may have an exalted opinion of themselves, but it makes them courageous. The Thymus gland's spiritual connection to Venus planetary afterlife realms influence. The thymus gland is found behind the heart in the solar plexus area of the chest. According to Cayce, since the thymus gland is related to the heart, it is associated with love. Love opens all doors. At this gland, love is awakened, bringing with it consideration, unselfishness, sincerity, and honesty. If this gland is the highest gland activated during a person's life, at death they will be able to dwell in the corresponding afterlife realm associated with the planet Venus. According to Cayce, this afterlife realm can be referred to as the realm of love. Sympathy, the alleviating of hardships, the seeking of love, beauty, and song are some influences that people from that realm possess. Beauty, either natural or man-made, will move these individuals. Furthermore, there is a desire to beautify the home. There is a strong attraction to the opposite sex. Thyroid gland spiritual connection to Uranus, planetary and afterlife realms influence. The thyroid gland, located in the throat. According to Cayce, the thyroid gland is related to willpower. From the misuse of will for selfish and domineering ends may come the condition known as hyperthyroidism. When little effort is made to the will at all, the opposite may occur, an imbalance known as hypothyroidism. It is worthy of note that in some cases where there has been a growth on the thyroid, a degree of clairvoyance or telepathy has developed. The energy released upon the thyroid gland opens the door into the psychic realms of consciousness. This gland is the highest gland activated during a person's life. At death, they will be able to dwell in the corresponding afterlife realm associated with the planet Uranus. According to Cayce, this afterlife realm is referred to as the realm of the Psyche. Cayce used the term psyche in the same way as the ancient Greeks used the term, meaning the sense of the soul. Cayce said it was natural for every soul to have a sixth sense. The Uranus afterlife realm is where the soul develops psychic ability. Uranus is also the realm of extremes. It gives people who came from there an interest in the occult and psychic phenomena. Such people have times of smoothness and other times periods of ecstasy and depression. The pineal glands, spiritual connection to Mercury's planetary and afterlife realms influence. Pineal gland is situated a little above the Pituitary Gland. According to Cayce, is the so-called Mind of Christ gland. When this gland has been truly awakened, one may experience spiritual Holy Communion. It is by this gland that the mind of the soul meets the Holy Spirit. This gland, when stimulated daily through meditation, can bring seership or prophecy. If this gland is the highest gland activated during a person's life, at death they will be able to dwell in the corresponding afterlife realm associated with the planet Mercury. According to Cayce, this afterlife realm of Mercury is referred to as the realm of the mind. Mercury is associated with higher mental abilities. People who come to Earth from this realm are gifted souls who need to watch out for self-aggrandizement, or their abilities will be merely stumbling stones upon its path. Mercury brings understanding, specifically the understanding of the other spheres. The Pituitary Gland spiritual connection to Jupiter's planetary afterlife realms influence. Pituitary gland is the master gland of the body. It is situated between and behind the eyes and the brain. According to Cayce, it is through the pituitary gland, the highest endocrine gland, that ultimate awakening comes. It is through the energy of the pituitary gland that one may enter the very presence of God through meditation and prayer. If this gland is the highest gland activated during a person's life, at death they will be able to dwell in the corresponding afterlife realm associated with the planet Jupiter. According to Cayce, this afterlife realm is referred to as the realm of high-mindedness and large groups. People who come to Earth from this realm may bring with them universality and ennoblement. They may turn their attention to large groups of people or nations. They may be expansive and may become blessed with wealth, which includes a wealth of friends, a broad-mindedness, and the ability to consider others. They often have grand ideas and notions. The physical body's spiritual connection to Pluto's planetary afterlife realms influence. According to Cayce, it is associated with the afterlife realm referred to as the realm of consciousness. This afterlife realm is the realm for final development of full consciousness. Planet Pluto was discussed by Cayce years before it was actually discovered. He referred to it as Vulcan and also as Septimus. When Pluto was discovered, Cayce affirmed that Vulcan or Septimus was the same planet as Pluto. The Pluto realm of the afterlife brings regeneration and a growth in consciousness, but also can bring self-centeredness. Pluto represents spiritual growth and development of the soul, and its influence is just now developing in the destiny of humanity. After all the afterlife realms associated with our solar system have been fully experienced, and all the lessons have been fully learned, and the proper level of soul growth has been attained, the soul can move on to other afterlife realms and even other solar systems, where other souls are going through the same thing. Chapter 4. The stars as soul patterns and the signs of the Zodiac. Stars represent soul patterns, not experiences. The 12 signs of the Zodiac are 12 patterns from which the soul chooses when coming into the earth realm. They are like races, patterns of temperament, personality, etc. Star signs for the Zodiac, for instance, influence people in subtler ways, by making them bullish or lionish, or airy or introspective. The afterlife realms manifested physically by the planets are all dwelling places of the soul. The planets influence people when they come to a point of prominence in the sky, just as a person who had once lived in a certain city would be influenced by reading of it or meeting someone from the town or by seeing photographs of it. Take the moon, for instance. Its influence is obvious on such things as the tides and the female cycle. These influences are observable when the moon is close. The word lunatic stems from luna, meaning moon. In law enforcement and emergency circles, accounts of the effect a full moon has on the crime rate have been reported. The planets are farther away than the moon, and the stars are far beyond them. But their light comes to the earth, and they influence in some way the heart or the brain or the emotions. Chapter 5. Soul Journeys. Cayce stated that souls reincarnate not only to the earth realm, but souls also reincarnate to other realms between earth incarnations as well. If a soul incarnates into an earth life from one of these afterlife realms, the soul will manifest the influence of the realm from which it recently came. These influences, which are defined by astrology, are related to the spirit realm associated with the astrological influence of the associated planet. As an example of how a soul sojourns to various afterlife realms, Cayce described his most recent sojourns throughout the cosmos. Cayce's soul sojourned in the Venus afterlife realm, the realm of the psychic, and just before incarnating into the physical realm, had a brief experience in the Venus afterlife realm. He incarnated to Earth with these most recent experiences ingrained in his soul. Such a combination would make a person psychic, having a heart for helping others. As another example, Cayce described his sister Leela's sojourns. Soul sojourned in the afterlife realm associated with Jupiter prior to incarnating into the Earth. But before incarnating, she had an experience in the afterlife realm associated with Mercury, which added to her mental ability. Jupiter's influence of high-mindedness in large groups is one of the reasons she later became an executive for the International Red Cross. Large groups and high ideals often come with incarnations in the Jupiter realm, according to Cayce. These influences, Cayce says, are latent within the soul by soul experience, not just because the stars are in a certain position at the time of birth. The soul actually had experiences in these realms. This is an energy the soul can draw on during their experience on Earth. During sleep, we also enter into these afterlife realms, again according to Cayce. We are truly citizens of the cosmos, even as we walk the Earth. Cayce's use of astrology and the Bible in his revelations supports the fact that the Bible is filled with astrology. To read about astrology in the Bible, visit the Astrology in the Bible webpage. The end of Edgar Cayce on astrology. Now a quote. "Love is a sign from heaven that you are here for a reason." J. Gale.